All right. Welcome back to the 1-800-FunkSauce.com show. There was a short break. The short break is apparently over. I have no intention of returning to a regular schedule. I will make episodes of this show when I feel like it. I will upload them when I feel like it, etc. That's how this will go now. Everything else is still mostly the same. It's hurricane season, and I am a big fan of hurricanes. I think hurricanes are rad, and I will maybe share some stories with you about my own personal experiences with hurricanes. You know, I've lived in Florida for a long time, but one thing that always comes back to me when I'm thinking about hurricanes is it feels like there's a missed opportunity with the naming. They always have this long list of names that they're going to go through in alphabetical order for, what they call the named storms. So, you'll get Alberto, and then Tropical Storm Beverly, and Hurricane Carol, and Hurricane Daryl. Carol followed by Daryl. Devastating pair of storms. But anyway, they have this list of names, and I think it's mostly arbitrary. Some amount of effort goes into, I think, making sure that the names are, diverse, etc. I could be wrong about that. I didn't do a ton of research into what their process is as it exists today, but I know that it's a missed opportunity because every time one of these storms comes, it's all they talk about on the news for like a week, sometimes a week and a half. A storm will just be chilling out there in the Gulf of Mexico, just spinning around, picking up energy, and it's out there training, getting ready to, do its thing. And they talk about it. It's just everything. It's constant. Like, get out of here. You got to make sure you have your stuff. Buy your stuff. You have to be very afraid and consume everything. And if you've consumed everything and you're still afraid, flee. Which really then you're just, there's a lot of money in these hurricanes. Why not more? A name auction. So every year the scientists or the storm people come up with numbers. They're like, there's probably going to be, 12 named hurricanes this year. We're like, we looked at the charts and we looked at the Nino, and there's going to be like 18 named storms this year, right? And so they come up with that. Why not take that and you have a name auction? So basically, the highest bidder of the name auction gets the first named storm. So, marketers are the customers in the name auction. For example, if PepsiCo, if they win the first named storm of the year, and upon, after they win, then they can say whatever they want for the name. So at some point, for a week or two in the news, they'll be saying Hurricane Pepsi, Tropical Storm Pepsi. Pepsi is out there in the Gulf of Mexico, picking up steam. Pepsi this, Pepsi that. Amazing, potentially, marketing for a brand. Now, of course, there could be possible negative press associated with a hurricane, depending on the course of the storm, what it does, where it goes, how long it stays, etc. And you can solve that problem basically the same way. Say Pepsi wins name number one for $25 million. And then all of a sudden, here comes this storm out in the Gulf of Mexico. And it looks like it's going straight at Miami. And Pepsi gets scared. And then the name auction people are always standing by for if Pepsi wants the storm to be changed back to, Amanda or whatever the first name would have been, if not for the name auction, then they can pay again. They can pay again before the storm makes landfall to say, we don't want this one. And then it goes back to the pool of normal names. And the name auction is fair. It's fair if you have the most money, you have the most say. That's how our world works. Let's just be honest about it. It's better than, arbitrarily, for example, your name is Katrina, you live in New Orleans, it's 2000 and something, and then that storm comes, well, that sucks. You don't want to, it's no fun being the person of the hurricane that it can come in and really screw up some people's lives and disrupt the economy, or it can kind of fizzle out and be even more disappointing, right? So it's not necessarily fair. You can't have it be fair with the current, arbitrary or random list of names or however they do it, right? But you have a name auction. So all the storms are named, and maybe, they auction off 100 storm names. So how likely is it that there will be 100 named storms? Extremely unlikely. So maybe storm 100, someone only paid $5,000 for it, But if it comes, it's theirs. But otherwise, it's just sort of a donation to the name auction storm thing. And so they're generating all this money. What do we do with all this money from the name auction? We just there was something that was generating no money, and we turned it into something that was generating tons of money. You got all the big corporations are lined up to have their name in the news for a week or more. You know, if the storm hits the right place with the right intensity, that name's staying for a while. A lot of these people, these marketers that run the world, you know, there's no such thing as bad press or whatever, right? And if you believe that, then why not plaster your name all over a hurricane? Why not make some money from this? And so we take all that money and we can, you know, this is America, right? So one of two things can happen. It can go into a fund that is allocated for, you know, giving back to communities that are affected by the storms when they hit. You know, if Pepsi paid $25 million to name Hurricane Pepsi, and then, you know, Houston gets smacked up by rain, you know, then there's $25 million sitting around to potentially, you know, fix that. And now, considering our government, we all that money could go to a fund and then be eventually reallocated to build bombs, or we just send it straight into building bombs. And depending on who you talk to, you know, they might have a preference for one of the two routes, but essentially pretty similar outcomes. But it's not about that. We generate money. It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to take more money from marketers, which is really essential. That's one of the few things that you can do that's has some value. You name all of the, and then, you know, if Elon Musk wants to name a storm after the child with the strange name, he can do that. You know, if Progressive Insurance wants to pony up and buy all the storms one year and just really hammer it, great. Let's take their money and, you know, build bombs with it. And then we have those bombs, which I do think is crazy. You know, if it wasn't clear that I'm joking, I don't think that the hurricane name auction money should go towards the war effort. I sometimes think that we might have enough bombs and could pump the brakes on making more bombs for a second or two, but I don't need to get into that. I'm not trying to upset the bomb people right now. But we have the hurricane name auction and everybody's happy, and sometimes a hurricane's looking like it's going to do some real damage, and all of a sudden it's no longer Tropical Storm Geico, it's Hurricane Greg. You know, and if they really wanted to, if they're really smart, you go in and you buy the number one name slot and you put in, you know, like something that will hurt your competitors. I'll let you think of something. You can email me about that. I don't know if I remember the email address. You see, I got very far ahead with the episodes, and then I got behind. So the break to you might have been what looks like a week or two. It's probably closer to more than that. Okay? But no more of that funny business. I'm gonna make stuff and put it out whenever I feel like it, as I see fit. And that's better. That works better for me. I was talking about hurricanes and how we're gonna name them based on hurricane name auctions. And then that makes me think more about what's coming. And I think the parks, I think if we want to still have decent parks, at some point, there's going to be value in all these plots of land. And it's going to be either we turn this park into apartments, or, you know, whatever, or we name the park after Geico, and then it's Geico Park, and so you can still have a park, but you can't have a park that isn't sponsored by a massive corporation. You know, somebody's got to pay up, right? So eventually all these parks, it's all just going to be like, you know, Oreo Creek running through Dorito Ridge. And okay. All right, whatever. I mean, that is preferable to some of the alternatives, right? If it's like, hey, we're gonna name this mountain range after Chips Ahoy, or we're gonna blow it up and turn it into apartments and malls of the future. Whatever I was talking about though, oh yeah, naming all this stuff, who cares? I'd rather have a park named Mount Powerade Park than not have a park. So, just throwing that out there, when they start turning the parks into economy, then call Geico. Call Coors Light. Whoever owns the football stadium, call them, see if they want to snag a park. I went to a baseball game a couple of weeks ago, and it was something. I'll tell you what, it was something. you have baseball is America's greatest pastime. And I don't really like it. The game of baseball, I think, is pretty boring to watch. But there is a thrill of going to the ball game. You know, take me out to the ball game. Right? That's real. That's exciting to go to the ball game. And what they have there is something that America does and has done. There's the past and the future and the present all coexisting at exactly the same time. Right down the same little walkway. You know? You have the ice cream of the past. And that's your typical ice cream. You know, you put it in a cone and it's one mass generally, or like scoops, but you know, you scoop it, the normal ice cream, you know. Sometimes it's like soft serve, but that's ice cream too. It's ice cream. It's the ice cream of the past. And then you walk 5-10 feet and you have the ice cream of the future right there. The ice cream of the past just has to sit there all day and all night, every baseball game, and just stare right down the barrel of its future, where it isn't. And it might think that future ice cream will never catch on fully. And so far, it's mostly right. By now, you might not even know that I'm referring to Dippin' Dots. I'm not sure if Dippin' Dots, when I went to the game, the ball game, I scanned the Dippin' Dots kiosk thing for the messaging, and I did not see references to it being the ice cream of the future. And that made me think, well. We made it. Here we are. Dippin' Dots is the ice cream of right now. We are now, today, right now, living in the future. The future once predicted by Dippin' Dots is now. And let me tell you, ice cream is pretty scarce. You're not finding Dippin' Dots all over the place. I think they have to be colder than you keep like normal ice creams, or else it turns into normal ice cream. And the future isn't like that. In the future, we have freezers that go to -11, as they say. They get real cold. Because in the future, energy is free and infinite. And people eat Dippin' Dots, and that's ice cream. People will say, hey, do you want to go out for some ice cream? And someone will say, yeah. And they'll go get Dippin' Dots. And if they were to go to a place where they were like scooping out of buckets of ice cream, they'd be like, why did you take me to this weird retro thing? I'm living in the now. I'm dipping those dots. And I feel that. I always have, ever since I was a kid, the Dippin' Dots future has appealed to me. I would go to a baseball game, and as you know, baseball is not interesting to watch. And if you're a fan of baseball and you listen to this show or watch this show and you've made it this far, and you're about to jump off ship because I've hurt you by going after baseball, then whatever. I can't take back. I have to speak my truth, and that's that baseball is boring. But what's not boring is dipping those dots. You go there, you get a baseball hat full of Dippin' Dots. I got a bunch. I got the large Dippin' Dots, and I was like, you can mix them, right? And they're like, I can do 3 in the large. And I thought about that for 9 or 10 minutes, and it was just too much. So 2 flavors was good. And it was delightful every moment consuming those Dippin' Dots, which were, you put them into your mouth and slow down at that point. Slow down. You don't want to bite anything. You're going to shatter all your teeth out. They're very cold. You have to warm them in your mouth. And once you've warmed them in your mouth to the point where it feels like it's kind of like you have normal ice cream in your mouth, now it's safe to eat it like it's normal food. So you have to compensate for that. They get them extra cold so that you can dip those dots, but then you gotta put in the oral labor. And so it's just what you have to do in the future. To get ice cream, you kind of have to, hold it in your mouth for a little bit so that it doesn't destroy your teeth and or esophagus. And the future is strange, but maybe we will see Hurricane Dippin' Dots someday when it's really time. I know that the future is now, but it doesn't feel like Dippin' Dots is the ice cream of today. Which is just another reminder of the difference between our potential and our reality today. We are in the future. The time has moved us into the future, and Dippin' Dots are just sitting there trapped at baseball stadiums across the country, just screaming out for you to come. You don't have to watch baseball. Just go find your seats, make sure that the field is still there. If you go and you find your seats and there's no baseball diamond, you cannot be confident that those Dippin' Dots will be genuine. They could easily be counterfeit dots, which have been fatal. I wouldn't be shocked to hear that regular Dippin' Dots have been fatal. It's the future. It's not. We don't all have the hardware for it. We don't all have the software for it. You know, some of us just can't get updated that far. But the future of ice cream is Dippin' Dots. And they haven't made vegan Dippin' Dots yet, to my knowledge, which makes me think that perhaps something might happen to veganism that prevents it from moving into the future, which concerns me. I think that it's mostly a good practice. More likely that Dippin' Dots are the ice cream of the future and are symbolic of the collapse of society. As in the future, when all the grocery stores get emptied out by people on meth with guns, then the ice cream that will be left in the future will be hidden away in baseball stadiums where no one will want to go. That'll be the ice cream of the future, the Dippin' Dots that nobody thought to look for after all the other ice cream got eaten already. But we're here to have fun. We're here to joke around, tell tales, excuse me. Some of them might be a little bit tall, but I try to keep it as honest as I can. I said that I might talk a little bit about how rad hurricanes are, and they are rad. I don't know if you've ever had a person touch you in a way that felt good. Like a tickle that doesn't make you wiggle. A tickle that makes you tingle. And everything that I'm about to say is not advice. It is not a suggestion, even if I am suggestive about things. If it sounds like I'm telling you what to do, I assure you that this is performance art. But one thing that might feel really good. Have you ever just been rained on? Like, really rained on. Well, it was probably not cool because you likely were not planning on it. It's like, oh, I need to walk from a restaurant to my car, or I need to walk from my car to the grocery store, or I'm driving, and it's always this inconvenience. But imagine if it's like you get an email that's like, hey, work tomorrow is canceled because it's going to rain really hard all day. And people might die. So you got the whole day to do basically nothing. And you know that your power might stay on, but it also might not. You can't really make any social plans because everyone's kind of hunkering down, as they say. But one time, I set up some speakers that were pointed. The speakers were indoors, and I put them against a window, and then I opened up the window a little bit, and I played the music out onto a porch that we had out. It was like a back porch of this house. And it was all like cleared out. All the like porch furniture was brought inside because this hurricane was coming. And we didn't want it to blow through, the glass windows, glass doors or whatever. So anyway, it's this empty porch, and I'm playing some Radiohead out into the outdoors, and it is raining. It is a full-on hurricane, like just pouring rain. And I don't know if you like meditating. And you can meditate with your mind and have experiences that are ludicrous and absurd. You can, theoretically assist meditation with what's the word for it? Medication of some kind. I, of course, don't condone any illegal or non-mainstream society activities. But if you are meditating, or if you do like meditating to any intensity, you do it. You go out there. And don't listen to me. I'm not telling you to do this. One thing that happened, it's playing the speakers, music's playing out into the outside, and I had the house to myself for whatever reason, because people were, I think my roommates were like hunkered down with their parents or something like that. I don't know. They weren't there. And I had just stripped all the way down. So it was just me. Just a body, And I went out there. And I did some simple yoga poses. Nice, comfortable yoga poses, and woo! I gotta tell you, getting rained on accident is not great. Getting rained on purpose, under the right conditions, is absolutely spectacular. Spectacular. One of the best things that's ever happened to me. And I know that it might sound like I'm suggesting to you that you should, take substances and go play in deadly storms. I am not. I'm not suggesting that to you. And, anytime I've gone out playing in a storm, I've gotten real lucky because I'm still alive to tell you that it was awesome. Awesome. Sometimes when I talk to people about meditation and trying to get started out meditating, I talk about how you can sort of close your eyes and visualize, your body, and then focus on the smallest part of it that you can think of, like, one of your toes, and you sort of imagine yourself like kissing that toe in your mind, and you do that, and you go inch by inch until you feel that in your physical body, and you do the same act in your imagination, your mind, and you do that until your that barrier that exists between your physical body and your mental world is blurry, or non-existent. But rain, oh my God, you go out there, you get rained on, amazing. It's like it's pure chaos, right? Because it's not like your shower where it's like this small, there's like a foot. If you stand 2 feet to the left, you're cold, you're out of the shower, it's no good. But if you're in the right spot, it's like, okay, this is pretty cool. But it's a steady thing. It's those holes, the stream, everything remains pretty much the same unless your water pressure is crazy. It fluctuates or something. But rain, you're getting hit with. You should try. Well, I'm not suggesting you do anything, but if you are out there playing in the rain, and you want to get just lost in it, gone, you start trying to count the number of drops that are hitting you. And if it's enough rain, you get out there in a real downpour, and you let some warm, on borderline hot Florida rain just get blasted for who cares how long. Just, awesome to go out there. It's one thing to enjoy. People have their hurricane parties and they like to hunker down and have a couple drinks or whatever, and just wait for it to pass. Going out there, getting right up in it. Some of the better times when I was a young kid, when we first moved to Florida, I was 10 years old and I didn't know how to ride a bike yet, and somebody was under the impression that I was going to have to ride my bike to school every morning, so I was forced to learn how to do that. And so this one summer, the first summer that we were here, my rules were I had to ride my bike around the neighborhood, this small little circle, at least 5 times every day to practice, riding a bike and dealing with bike stuff. And there was this Hurricane Gordon that came through, and I was like, I don't have to ride my bike in this storm, do I? My mom's like, it's gonna rain when you have to go to school. You can't just not go to school when it's raining. So yes, of course you have to ride your bike today. There's no, you don't, things don't stop for weather. That was crazy. Because it's a circle. The neighborhood's basically a square of homes. And so half the time it was like no big deal. I just had to kind of balance half the time. And then a quarter of the time I was flying. Like, you don't have to pedal at all. You can just hold out your rain jacket, and it's like sailing on a bike. But then you imagine another quarter, the remaining 25% of the time, it's like you're working against the wind, and it's harder. But that was fun. I easily went around 20 times that day. Because it's just fun. Hurricanes are fun. They're fun. Do occasionally houses get destroyed? Yeah. Have people died? Oh yeah. Okay. And that's everything. It's everything. Fireworks, I know a lot of people hate fireworks. I don't really care for them. It is take it or leave it. Like, once you see a really good fireworks show, I think that, like, you're good. But a lot of people like them too. I don't remember where I was going with that, but yeah, I just completely lost the whole train. Just whoop. And you think, wow, I must have thought of something great to move on to. Oh, hurricanes. I was talking about hurricanes. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing here anymore. I don't really take notes. I knew that I wanted to talk about hurricanes. The ice cream in the future is Dippin' Dots. In the future, the hurricane names will be auctioned off. I think it'll be a much better system. A much better system. I'm under the impression right now that the audio for this episode might be really jacked up. I just set things back up. I had moved things around to record the last parts of a music album that I had been working on for some time, which is out now. And if you go to 1-800-funksauce.com and you can't find music, then just turn off your computer and walk into a lake and don't come back. That's real advice. I mean that. Yeah, the music album came out. I don't know. I don't want to get too nerdy. I don't really want to talk about that a ton. I don't know how much there is to say about it. The process was, it was mostly made in Ableton, as is tradition by now. Yeah, check that out if you like it. Cool. If you don't like it, that's fine too. If you don't check it all out at all, that is very average. That's the most normal possible thing that you could do, which is fine. A lot of people are like that. I had more things. Let me check. I don't think I wrote very much down. Hurricanes are awesome. We talked about what happens with the money from a hurricane auction. We're gonna put it into a fund, and then our extremely competent and honest and transparent government will utilize that fund to help communities and individuals and businesses impacted by these sometimes horrific storms. There will be more episodes. I will try to make the sound better. I will continue to attempt to help fix our world, which is apparently pretty broken. Yeah, I'm gonna do an episode in Spanish soon. Look forward to that. Something's going to change. Something is going to change soon. I'm not sure exactly what it is. Whether this show goes away again for a while or something, I don't know. Something will change. I do want to make another movie. I'm not sure. I don't have a script. I don't have many ideas for that. It will probably be the one old thought I had was that the third film would be live action, shot on real cameras, which seems like a logical progression, but yeah, I'm just not sure. I don't think that I want to star in a movie right now. It really would have to depend. But yeah, that's what's going on over here. I thank you for listening to this show and or watching it. Still can't tell you what I'm drinking because I'm not sponsored. And I'm mostly blaming you, right? It's hard for me not to. I know it's not perfectly logical, but to me it's like every Sunday morning, let's say this is just an example. Every Sunday morning I wake up, and because I feel self-important and want to be useful and have a lot of unfocused energy, I make stuff. And so every Sunday morning I make an enormous breakfast, a big pancake breakfast. And I make this huge pancake breakfast, and after a few weeks, I notice there's like 4 people coming. So, I could make less pancakes, right? And just be like, okay, there's 4 people coming, so let me just make pancakes for these 4 people. And stop making 100 pancakes and throwing 96 of them into the river, right? And that is an idea. That is an option. But I'm making these hundreds of pancakes, this abundance of pancakes. And consistently, every Sunday, pancakes. And it's just the same 3 or 4 people that keep coming and no one else. And so is it something that I'm doing wrong? Yeah, of course. Is it that my pancakes aren't good enough? I mean, probably, right? To an extent, probably my pancakes could be better, always, of course. But it's difficult as the pancake maker to not look at the 3 or 4 pancake eaters and be like, do they have no one? Either they have no one in their lives that they could share the love of free pancakes with on a Sunday morning. There's no one that can say, hey, I just got back from this pancake thing. It was pretty good. And they ended up throwing like 200 pancakes into the river because not enough people came. So maybe if you came, but it's still just the same 3 or 4 pancake eaters. So they're not doing that. They're really not doing that. So you think, well, maybe they keep coming back and these 3 or 4 people are eating the pancakes, so they don't hate them. And it's like, I'm pretty sure they're not telling people about the pancakes because they're worried about not getting their portion, or they're worried that there will be a line. Like, they've seen the abundance of pancakes and the amount of pancakes that just get dumped into the river every Sunday afternoon. So I don't think it's that. And I know that who cares about what anyone has to say about anything. I certainly understand that perspective. The likelihood that I care or think very deeply about the things that you have to say or do is very small. Very, very small. Good chance that I don't like you. Really good chance that I only tolerate you because I think that not doing so would somehow make things worse. Some people I actually like, a few of you. But I would like you more if you didn't make it difficult on me to replace you with more of you. You are one person, and that is great, and you are listening, and that is cool. But I want you to be more people. Why? So that I can sell you poison and get rich. You understand? No one will pay me to sell poison and knickknacks and general hogwash to a group of 10 people. But if 10,000 or 100,000 or a million morons tune into this garbage on a regular basis, then some sinister person will then pay me to have you pay them for them to kill you faster and make your life worse. And then everybody's happy. It's not that complicated. That's all I want to do. I'm going to build a castle and help our corporate overlords kill you with poison. That's it. Buy a t-shirt. Thank you.